Brothers and sisters, I want to see your hands out there. Let me see your hands. I want everybody to kick up some noise. I want to hear some revolution out there, brothers. I want to hear a little revolution. Brothers and sisters, the time has come for each and every one of you to decide whether you are going to be the problem or whether you are going to be the solution. You must choose, brothers. You must choose. It takes 5 seconds. 5 seconds of decision. 5 seconds to realize your purpose here on the planet.
Eric Ortega himself is saying it's not enough just to take his word for it. He's accepting the need for strict mechanisms. He's accepting the need for strict mechanisms. Who's anybody on this line or?
Stay sharp and stay brave.
He wants you to stay sharp and stay clean. Yes.
Hell no! I'm through.
You don't say nothing.
Yeah. You're not coming through.
You don't say nobody what to do.
Developed this system to keep you informed in the event of an emergency. If this had been an actual emergency, you would have been instructed where to tune in your area for news and official information. This concludes this test of the emergency.
Market composite index was up 0.34. Again, stocks in another strong advance with the industrials up 11.75 to 9.
This station has interrupted its regular programming to bring you an emergency information from the next tornado was indicated by radar near Lake Zurich, Illinois, 34 miles northwest of the Chicago Loop at 6:05, and is moving toward the southeast at 45 miles an hour.
You want me to knock you in the head?
Well, I want you to swear to God on the Bible that you walked on the moon.
Okay.
If you walked on the moon, we're given the opportunity to swear to God that you walked on the moon.
I'm going to give you the opportunity to get the hell knocked out of you if you don't leave me alone.
Really like attention, don't you?
You're the one who said you walked on the moon when you didn't. Calling the kettle black, if I ever thought of it. Saying I misrepresented myself.
Away from me.
You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
Mr. Seibel, you do not deserve answers.
If you show this publicly, you're open for a lawsuit. Okay?
Light them all up.
You ought to be in pictures.
That's the best? Let's say it. The other one to print. I think that's awfully good. That one and the one before it was pretty good.
Do we have about 15 seconds?
Oh, yeah.
I claim this land in the name of...
What do you got now? Now move.
Cut it.
Ready? And action.
Cut it, Jim.
Very good.
Print that.
Print
for...
He needs to go off this mark.
Or once more, please.
Otherwise, he, let me walk it before you tell me. I don't want right in the middle of it.
Here's what we really need is for him to go to his left and then kind of veer back. Is that right? No lights. No lights. One more right away, guys.
Head slate. Head slate.
Exactly right, and it has to be. We have to be high enough so that we've got you against blue sky and not against Earth as you're coming in. You're coming in a descending approach as you get in.
Over. We can rehearse it. Said, go back and we'll rehearse it and see how it looks.
Verify U.S. moon landings on upcoming mission. Moscow, the head of Russia's Roscosmos space agency, has said that a proposed Russian mission to the moon will be tasked with verifying that the American moon landings were real. "We have set this objective to fly and verify whether they've been there or not," said Dimitri Rogozin in a video posted Saturday on Twitter. Rogozin was responding to a question about whether or not NASA actually landed on the moon nearly 50 years ago. He appeared to be joking, as he smirked and shrugged while answering. But conspiracies surrounding NASA's moon missions are common in Russia.
What's interesting is that in the aftermath of the Mueller thunderbolt of no proof of collusion, there were articles about how people are disappointed about this finding. Now, disappointment means that you were expecting something, you wanted something to happen, and it didn't happen. So that means that some people wanted Mueller to find evidence of collusion, which means that emotionally they were invested in it. It wasn't just that they wanted to know the truth, they actually wanted the truth to look a certain way. And whenever we want the truth to look a certain way, there's some reason it has to do with our own emotional needs, and not just with a concern for reality. And in politics in general, although we think that people make decisions on intellectual grounds based on facts and beliefs, very often actually people's dynamics are driven by emotional forces that they're not even aware of in themselves. And I really, as I observed this whole Russiagate phenomenon from the beginning, it really seemed to me that there was a lot of emotionality in it that had little to do with the actual facts of the case. There's no question that for a lot of people in this country, the election of Trump was a traumatic event. Now, when a trauma reaction happens, which is to say you're hurt and you're pained and you're confused and you're scared and you're bewildered, there's basically two things you can do about it. One is you can own that I'm pained and I'm hurt, I'm bewildered, and I'm really scared, and then try and look at what happened to bring me to that situation. Or you can, instead of dealing with those emotions, come up with some kind of explanation that makes you feel better about them. What does it say about American society that a man like this could even run for office, let alone well elected? Mm-hmm. What does it say about American society that so many people are actually enrolled in believing that this man could be any kind of a savior? What does that say about the divisions and the conflicts and the contradictions and the genuine problems in this culture? And how do we address those issues? You can look at that, or you can say there must be a devil somehow behind all this, and that devil is a foreign power, and his name is Putin, and his country is Russia. Now you've got a simple explanation that doesn't invite you or necessitate that you explore your own pain and your own fear and your own trauma. So I really believe that really this Russiagate narrative was, on the part of a lot of people, a sign of genuine upset, as something genuinely upsetting. But rather than dealing with the upset, it was an easier way to, in a sense, draw off the energy of it into some kind of a believable and comforting narrative. It's much more comforting to believe that some enemy is doing this to us than to look at what does it say about us as a society. I mean, there was a massive denial of the actual dynamics in American society that led to the election of this traumatized and traumatizing individual as president. Clearest example of a traumatized politician one can ever see.
10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who had used to work for me, and one of the generals called me in. He said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, "No." He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran." I said, "Is it classified?" He said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Well, don't show it to me." And I saw him a year or so ago, and I said, "You remember that?" He said, "Sir, I didn't show you that memo. I didn't show it to you."